Welcome back to the Red Rising Recap series, where each video gives you a quick recap of a different book in the Red Rising Saga by Pierce Brown in under 10 minutes. This episode is all about Dark Age, the second book in the newer tetralogy and the fifth book in the series. This video will contain spoilers for the first 5 books in the series. I'm going to group this recap primarily by POV, with Darrow and Lysander's chapters being together and Ephraim and Lyria's somewhat overlapping as well. In Dark Age, we also get a 5th POV in Mustang. Dark Age begins pretty much right after the end of Iron Gold. Darrow has arrived in Mercury's orbit to discover that Atalantia has smashed the armada commanded by Orion and taken Orion prisoner. Darrow gets her back, a little worse for the wear, and hauls ass to the surface, where they come up with a plan to push back the Society forces and hold on to Mercury. The plan hinges on the help of a Mercurian orange, Glorastes, the Master Maker, who is a total diva, but who helps them create storms with old terraforming technology to force the Society forces into the path they choose. Orion, however, goes totally rogue and tries to destroy Mercury completely, and Darrow has to kill her to keep her from ruining everything. He meets up with OG Howler Screwface, who has been under deep cover with the Society for 3 years. Lysander and the Rim contingent, including Diomedes and Seraphina, have arrived at Mercury. The Rim has wicked fast ships compared to the core, apparently, and are joining with the Society forces. This is a reunion of sorts, as Atalantia was besties with Lysander's mother, and Aja's son Ajax is there, and he was Lysander's childhood best friend. Lysander, Diomedes, and Seraphina fall in an iron rain on Mercury with Ajax and the Society forces. Seraphina gets blown in half almost immediately upon landing. It is hilarious. There's a really great moment where Darrow and Lysander are each making their way across the Ladon, which is a big desert on the planet that is supposedly impassable. Lysander's POV depicts this epic battle that ends with him getting his face melted off, and then the next chapter is Darrow's POV and starts with, "We brush away light resistance." It really highlights what a little bitch baby Lysander is, despite his own delusions of grandeur. This section of chapters ends with Darrow narrowly pulling off a save and securing the main city, Heliopolis, for the Republic forces. In Dark Age, we finally meet Atlas O'Ra, the Fear Knight. He's Romulus's brother and Ajax's father, and a really creepy dude who resorts to brutal tactics that definitely violate the Geneva Convention. Lysander infiltrates Heliopolis by staging an escape from Atlas, whose unconscious body he brings with him, with Alexander O. Arcos, one of Darrow's lancers and the grandson of Lorne. They are rescued by Darrow and Screwface and brought to the Republic base, where he and Atlas are questioned. Lysander pretends to be a Mercurian Gold and uses a fake name that Glorastes would know him by. Glorastes doesn't tell Darrow who Lysander is and brings him home, where he begins to gather support. Darrow figures out eventually who Lysander is, but it's too late, and Lysander kills Alexander, leads the Society forces, including the Grey's Sovereign's personal Praetorian Legion, and retakes Mercury. Darrow barely escapes with Cassius, who is alive and was sent by Kavax to help Darrow. Lysander finds out that Atalantia is responsible for his parents' deaths, but he knows he needs to keep her happy and unthreatened in order to live. So he proposes to her, and then Pierce treats us to the least comfortable sex scene ever written. The Lysander chapters end with him teaming up with Apollonius, who has been skulking around during the whole book following Lysander, and they come up with a plan to take the war to Mars. Ephraim, Pax, and Electra crashed at the end of Iron Gold, and Dark Age begins with them being rescued / captured by Sephi and her Obsidians at Eagle's Rest on Mars, the ancestral home of the Bellona family. Lyria and Volga have been captured by Victra and imprisoned on her ship. She's planning on trading them to the Obsidians, who have taken over Mars, in exchange for Electra and Pax. It turns out that Volga is the daughter of Ragnar, so Sephi wants her to be her heir. Victra's ship is attacked by the Ascamani, those space pirates we first heard about in Iron Gold, and they have to bail out over Mars. They crash land, and Lyria gets a power-up in the form of a technological parasite called Figment that makes her kind of superhero-ish. Ephraim, Pax, and Electra escape the Obsidians after the leader of the Ascamani shows up and starts some drama within the Obsidians. Victor goes into labor in a village full of Reds, who it turns out are part of the Red Hand, that shitty terrorist organization led by Harmony. They're caught, and the baby is killed in a horrifying way, which I refuse to say out loud. Victor and Volga are captured, and Lyria has to infiltrate the Red Hand base to rescue them. They pull it off and kill a bunch of creepy child rapists, and Harmony gets killed very slowly by pit vipers, which is super, super satisfying. Lyria puts out a distress signal, and Ephraim, Elektra, and Pax show up, and Pax does some dope flying and blows the Red Hand ships out of the sky. Ephraim decides to go back to save Sephi, but he's too late, and Volsung Fa, the leader of the Askamani, defeats Blood Eagles and kills her. He then takes over as head of the Obsidians. Ephraim tries to kill him, but ends up dying himself. R.I.P. Pax tells Lyria that the implant she has is probably made by Quicksilver, so the book ends with her planning to go learn more about that, and Volga planning to find and kill Volsung Fa. Virginia's chapters are all about the politics happening on Luna and Severo's hunt for his daughter and Pax. Virginia has captured the Duke of Hands and finds out that he has been having a relationship with Dancer, who we learn is gay. She confronts Dancer about it, and it turns out that he didn't know who the Duke was, and also the manufactured culture of the Reds in the mines was very homophobic, and he was attacked for being gay before he found the Rising, so that's why he was hiding the relationship. They have a heart-to-heart, and Dancer agrees to vote with Virginia to send reinforcements to Darrow on Mercury. Before the vote can happen, however, Dancer is assassinated along with most of his bloc in the Senate on the day of Red Doves. Virginia is accused of orchestrating it by the person who actually did, and a riot/coup takes place. Daxo Telemanus is killed, and Virginia gets totally fucked up by a mob. And it turns out Lilith didn't die at the end of Morningstar. She's the Syndicate Queen, we think, and gave birth to the Jackal's clone, who is now 10 and the mastermind behind everything that's happened on Luna. They kill fucking everyone, including Theodora, Darrow's pink valet from Golden Sun, and Virginia's spymaster, as well as Alexander's mother and a bunch of other members of their extended family and friends. Some Howlers are killed, and Clown, Pebble, and Severo are captured. Virginia's POV ends with her escaping to Mars with Holiday and Kavax and meeting up with Pax, Victra, and the rest of their crew. So basically everything is fucked, and the book ends with all characters planning to converge on Mars. Come back next time for Lightbringer to wrap up this series for now. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Sharkbait's Bookshelf, and subscribe to High Key Obsessed Podcast on YouTube to continue with the series.